Imagine not being Leeds, not feeling this pain, not dancing through thunder, not walking through rain. Imagine not rising with fists in the air when the world turned its back and no one would care. We've lived in the ashes, we've drowned in defeat, but still we stand proud on our battered old feet. Imagine not loving with all that you are. Imagine not being Leeds.
We love you, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.
We do love you, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds. Have you come down yet? Do you even want to come down yet? Oh, I'm still reeling, still reeling. So as you're watching this, I recorded this last night before bed because I'm up early for a drive to London, working away for a night. But yeah, I'm still absolutely reeling after that performance against Everton. First half, unbelievable. Second half, they come into it, but we more than match them, stand up to it. Not many moments where I'll be honest with you, I weren't really nervous in ground. Never really felt like we were going to concede. And yeah, brilliant. I thought Farke tweaking things mid-game from a 4-3-3 to trying to win the game and doing switching up to a 4-2-3-1. Subs decent times. Subs, you'd have to say, worked because we're going to win the game with the subs on the pitch. But obviously this video's not even a negative one, really, just a discussion, my opinion on the Largie Ramazani situation. Some people will say, what situation? Rightly so, there's nothing really out there to suggest there is a situation other than just the eye test of being a fan. He doesn't touch grass. In a game where we're lacking creativity or a spark at times in that game, I don't think it was as turgid as opposition fans have said, where are your goals going to come from? You needed a penalty to win and all that. I think it'll come. I think the fact that Pino were dropping deep to get more into the game, you know, meant in the box, he weren't always in and around the box if a ball got whipped across, like, you know, Gabby Goodmanson did at odd time and things like that. He was dropping in and played really well to Pino, just played a different side rather than being on shoulder, rather than being in box waiting for his opportunity. He's dropping a bit deeper, linking play up, beautiful touch, nice intricate passing. His pass percentage was decent as well. So there's that notion now where, you know, how are you going to score the goals? I think we've got enough. I do. I think as wingers will get goals, as midfielders will get goals, which we've not been able to, you know, say proudly and chest out that's going to happen. It is Tanaka scores. We know that was last season. Stack's definitely good for 5 or 6 goals this season for me. Seeing as midfielders at the edge of the area, you know, will get goals. But going off on a tangent here. But yeah, Largie Ramazani. I am a fanboy of Largie Ramazani. I will probably get him tattooed on my body somewhere before I get my kids' names tattooed on me, which is a statement. Joking, am I? But yeah, I think he's a cracking player. I don't think he gets the minutes that he deserves, if I'm honest. And I know people will say this is a bit of a discussion. I want you to drop your thoughts in the comments too and let me know your mindset. My mindset now, last year I was very annoyed at certain times that he didn't get game time, and we'll look a bit more in detail at that in this video. But did it matter at the end of the day? Do I think Ramazani is as good as Solomon? Last season, would Ramazani have done similar to Solomon, if not surpassed him? In my opinion, yes. In my opinion, if Ramazani plays as many minutes as Solomon did, we still get 100 points, maybe more. For me, in my opinion. There were games where, towards the end, when we had a bit of a blip, you know, Swansea stands out and Luton, etc., Solomon was struggling in those games and probably needed taken out. And people will say, you know, Ramazani's not doing it in training, but we've seen this with Farke, and this isn't a dig at Farke. I'm hoping Farke stays for many a moon because it means we're doing well. And right now, Farke's nailing it. Pre-season's great, and you know, there will be moments where you question things. You know, the whole playing away in Germany and policing. You know, people say that couldn't be helped. He could have gone somewhere else, but Farke won in Germany, knowing that was a possibility. The fans couldn't go to Germany. All that, there'll be things that Farke does. There's things that Alas does, my wife, that irritate me. Everything I do irritates my wife. Only some things irritate me that the missus does. But, you know, even the people you respect, you love, you admire, there's always something that you maybe don't agree with or something you don't like. And there's little elements with Farke. And this is one of them. last season didn't utilise Ramazani enough. I thought Ramazani would push for a move in the summer. It hasn't come to now. There's rumours. I always feel like the rumours haven't been a good enough side interested to sort of warrant him to push the move. Rangers would be an attractive move for him, I think. European football to a degree, an easy league to showcase his talents. I think if Ramazani goes to Rangers, he scores 10, 15 goals and looks outstanding and probably wins player of the season. He's right up there for me at that level. Is he a Premier League player? I want to see him have a go. I think he is. I want to see him have a go. I mean, I've had people say to me, well, why isn't the better clubs than, a Greek side and then Rangers coming in for him? But we don't know. We don't know whose list Ramazani's on. He might be on several teams' lists, and it hasn't become public knowledge. We don't know. There's been no concrete bids coming from anyone. No, there hasn't. And maybe lack of game time last season, maybe a reason for that. And, he picked up an injury that can't be helped and he couldn't get back in the side. But I don't like the notion that there has to be an attitude problem. We saw this with Somerville, in Bielsa's days, there's a problem with Somerville. He wanted to go out on loan. So he had ambition. So that makes him, an arrogant player. That means he's got an ego. That means he's a bad apple. And then he proved, he was our best player 2 years ago. After thinking he probably moves on before he become a first teamer, at least we're thinking Somerville moving on because he's a bad apple. That wasn't the case. Sometimes managers just don't fancy a player. I think, Largie Ramazani, I think he can do both sides of the game. He can get up and down for me. He's a hard-working player, but he's not as good defensively as a Willie Gnonto. He's not as good defensively as a Jack Harrison. Solomon, did he get back that much? Probably more than Ramazani would do, yeah. But probably, again, not as much as a Harrison or a Willie Gnonto will. Farke likes players that can follow instruction. Farke likes players who can do both sides of the game. We've seen it with Jorginho Rutter, when a couple of moments, in Farke's first season where Rutter would do something special and he'd irritate us because he'd lose ball maybe 9 times out of 10. But I didn't mind him trying those moments because that's what you pay your money to see. You want to be entertained. And there was the odd time where he didn't like the odd pirouette. He didn't like the little nutmeg. He didn't like the little Cruyff turn. And it was like he would try to iron that out of him at times. Publicly, we've heard this too. And I do feel like that flair player is not a massive fan of that off-the-cuff sort of player, which, again, I think every side can maybe afford one. Maybe Leeds United this season can't afford one. That's why we're going with a 4-3-3. Be solid, be resolute, build your foundations on giants just winning the ball back and making it, tough for the opposition to have shots. Maybe a Ramazani is too much of that flair player to give that opportunity to. But last season, it wasn't. Last season, we were the best side. Last season, it could have been, the championship should have been and could have been Ramazani's playground. And I'm trying to look at it from his point of view. To see him not touch grass again yesterday, a shock. Maybe not. To see Jack Harrison come on instead of Ramazani, floored me. I won't lie. I didn't boo Harrison. I hope Harrison does well. I think he did okay when he came on. I'm not going to, be singing from rooftops say that he did fantastic. Like I've seen some people and some content creators say were absolutely amazing. He weren't. I was involved in, the build up to the penalty. Yes, he was. He crossed the ball and got deflected out and then stacked shot on it. It was a penalty, but, you can't praise him really for that. He was getting the ball and he whipping it in, but Ramazani's a runner. Maybe you don't cross it in. Maybe that's the reason Harrison come on, because he's going to get the ball down and he's going to fire it into box. And when you've got someone like Metchin on there, you want balls into box. You don't really need maybe a runner try to dribble past and try to create something at that stage of the game state. Maybe wanted a Jack Harrison. But when it comes to loyalty, a player that barely played last season, it's coming to pre-season, couple of assists in a game in Germany, looked lively in the minutes given in pre-season, got his head down, said he wants to stay regardless of any sort of notion that he may want out. Shown a good attitude, I think, publicly and in games. We don't see what happens behind closed doors, but do I think he's a bad egg? Do I think he doesn't train hard? I don't, personally. If he were that bad, he wouldn't be on bench for me. So to see Jack Harrison, who we've all had a problem with him, even if you haven't now, we've all had an issue with Jack Harrison at some point. Not many people have wanted him back. We can accept it now. We're going to have to, because he's staying for me. But to see him come on over Ramazani, a player that we've spent money on and trying to develop, or you'd want to try and develop, because he's got flair, he's exciting. To give that spot to Jack Harrison, who hasn't been there for 2 years, had no was no help in getting us back up after being one of the reasons we went down. That hurt, and Ramazani will feel that. 10 times, a million times more than I do, and I feel it. So I'd love to get your thoughts. You know, were you shocked to see Ramazani snubbed last night? Because for me, that's a public snubbing. I think that was very telling yesterday. You know, Jack Harrison coming on over Ramazani on that left wing. And like I say, I understand Harrison's a bit more solid going back. He's probably going to offer you a little bit more solidarity. Because as much as we were pushing for win, which we were, Farke's tactics were spot on, switching up to a 4-2-3-1, pushing Tanaka a bit higher at times in that, you know, in that latter end of that game. You still have to be worried about the other way and you're getting countered. And Jack Harrison's probably going to give you more protection that way. So I understand it, but I don't necessarily agree with it. And this isn't a negative video. It really is just an opinion sort of piece. You know, do we see Ramazani sticking around? Because if I were Ramazani, I would want to leave. I would definitely want to leave after yesterday. The fact we've signed or about to sign, maybe we've signed about the time this goes out, but Noah Okafor, that signifies the end for one of his wingers. And it does not look like it's Jack Harrison for me. Because I think he's coming in as a left winger. And if Ramazani's, for me, the big question is, how much do you rate Ramazani? For me, there's a conversation, and people will laugh at this. You know, I speak to Joe Wayman a lot about it, and he for me, Joe Wayman just doesn't rate him. He thinks he's overrated. I don't think Joe Wayman really rates him, and that's based on Farke not giving him minutes. For me, there's a conversation that talent-wise and ability-wise, Ramazani's our best winger, one of our best wingers. He's not below Nonto and James by a million, mate. There's a conversation, but currently, he's what, fourth choice winger? Dan James in front of him. Willie Nonto's in front of him. Fifth choice winger. Aronson's in front of him. Harrison's in front of him. He is now our fifth choice winger. Okafor's coming in. He's sixth choice winger. That's mental. So I don't see a world where Ramazani stays. And let's just have a quick look at some bits from last season. Share my screen. Obviously, there were moments last season where I think it was crying out to get him involved. And obviously, 24 years old, he isn't a kid. He needs to be playing good minutes. Obviously, plays on left wing. Almira, 22 goals, 7 assists, or 29 GNA and 128. Not setting the world alight, no. But you look at last season, started off really well. Hull City played 16 minutes. This is what you do. Your first couple of games, you're warming into it. Then bang, 84 minutes played, goal. Coventry, 70 minutes played, assist. Norwich backs it up with another goal. You know, by Watford game, when he gets injured, 3 goals, 1 assist in what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. 4 GNA in opening 6 games he's played there. And the Watford game, he may have gone on and scored more. He only played 14 minutes when he went off injured. Ankle injury ruled him out there for 4 weeks. He then could not get any rhythm. 6 minutes, 21 minutes, 5 minutes, 25, 16, 14, 71 against Derby, a game where loads of players we didn't play well at all in that. We get a win, don't we, with Aronson, I think it was that game. But don't look great in that game. It was a tough game. On the bench again, 2 games back to back with no minutes. Again, look at that then. Away at Sheffield, home at Sheffield United, Norwich, Burnley, Cardiff. Look at the minutes he's getting: 7, 16, 19, 19, 12, 13, 12. Then 2 games riding bench without getting minutes again. How are you supposed to pick up any sort of momentum there? 7-0 against Cardiff. You're telling me, with more minutes, if he plays 80 minutes there, he isn't gonna get on a score sheet or an assist. Of course he is. So again, there, look, and then you end up there. You're getting towards the end of the season. In games where, Swansea, poor, QPR, poor, Luton, poor, riding bench, it turns at Middlesbrough. I wanted that game, it was brilliant. Bamford played really well as well, which another player I didn't expect to be playing big minutes, but really, really helped out towards the end of the season. And then you see, obviously, that game against Bristol, he gets 2 goals in 9 minutes. So he can do it in short minutes, but Bristol, poor 4-0 win. It's just sort of looking at him thinking he was his best player for me from, that Cardiff game to the Watford game. He was our best player when he played big minutes. For me, if he don't get injured there's a question mark against Solomon getting minutes because he was flying. He was our best player. Those opening, 7 or 8 games when he came into the fold. And then he could not get a sniff. And when you look at when you look at his minutes actually played, well, it is on here, but I've got it on the phone here. The minutes played, 783 minutes in total. Here it is, 783 minutes played last season. That was it. 29 games, but only 783 minutes. So less than 10 games, full minutes. 6 goals, 2 assists. A goal or assist every 97 minutes. Brilliant. Brilliant stats. Yet could not get a sniff at Leeds United. And why is that? Do you really believe it's down to lack of effort in training? I don't. I just think that the manager don't fancy him. And it didn't matter last season. And it hopefully won't matter this season. Do I think him not playing is going to jeopardise the stadium? No, I don't. Do I think he's a world beater? No, I don't. Do I think he's a talented player who should have played more football leagues? Yeah, I do. I do. Do I think he should be playing over Jack Harrison right now? 100%. No one will change my mind on that. Do I hope Jack Harrison plays well if he's in Leeds shirt? 100% I do. But yeah, it'll be similar to the Charlie Cresswell situation. I'll be a little bit annoyed if he moves on. I think Charlie Cresswell will go on and do massive things. I think Ramazani will do good things. I do. I think his ceiling's higher than what Leeds are currently giving him. But really interested to know your point of view. I believe now, my heart is saying Ramazani will move on. And if he does, I hope it's alone. And similar to the Mateo Joseph situation, you hope he goes somewhere at a decent level and smashes it for sell-on value, for maybe coming back into fold next season and doing bits. But I think he's a talented player who probably warrants more minutes than he's getting and looks like he's going to be getting. And just, yeah, walked away yesterday buzzing, absolutely buzzing. Farke nailed it. But walked away thinking that was very telling that Aronson and Harrison came on ahead of him. And you end that game 1-0 to Everton, it goes the other way and they get a late penalty. The fan base is thinking a lot like this. The fan base are walking away going, we finished that game there in Premier League with Aronson and Harrison on wings. Ramazani's not played again. Farke, what are you doing? But because we get that win, you can't say anything other than fair play. Fair play. And I like the tactical switches in that game. But yeah, really interested to see what you think about Ramazani. Do I overrate him? Maybe I do. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please smash a like on the video. The views and just the engagement with everybody. I can't thank everybody enough. I'm trying to stay consistent. Not down to even trying. I fucking love doing this. I love talking to you guys. You know, whether it's lives or pre-records, I absolutely love doing this. So thank you all so much for your support. I'll be back at some point this week. We'll have late night Leeds on Friday, but I'll have something else to do before that, I would imagine, because I can't keep off it. Ready for Arsenal on Saturday. Thanks for everyone who watched my vlog from the game against Everton. Thank you so much. And I'll be doing an away day vlog, a full day on the coach, on the beer, with the Garth F. Whites for Arsenal away. So I can't wait for that one too. But thank you so much. Please smash a like. Please subscribe. Tell your friends. And take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.